Welcome back in, everybody. Eric here with another EWE Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the new Last of Us show. We're actually going to be reviewing the first 2 episodes of the series, and subsequently, going forward, I'll be reviewing every episode weekly. Sorry for the delay on some reviews. I've had some work stuff and other real-life issues that have been coming around, so been a little bit busy, haven't been able to do many reviews right now. Going to try and get better with it, but sometimes life gets in the way. So let's talk about this real quick, but before that, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below what you guys think about the new show. I'm really curious what other people think. So let's get right into it. Oh, also, the format for this review is going to be a little bit different for this series. The beginning of the episode, I'm going to be talking about spoiler-free stuff, maybe what I thought about the episodes, my ideas without spoilers. I'm not going to do any spoilers at the beginning. And then at a certain point, I'm going to start saying spoilers. I'm going to put something on the video saying, hey, we're going into spoilers. That way, if you don't want to see the spoilers, come back later after you watch the episode, you can do that. So I'll give you guys a warning when I'm about to do that, so don't worry about it. We'll be talking about the first 2 episodes today, so I might go a little bit fast about stuff just because I don't want to get the video too long. Alright, so let's talk about this. So this is a new show that just came out on January 15, 2023, and the second episode, that was the first episode. Second episode came out 7 days later on January 22nd. The main cast for this, and I'm just going to say for the entire show, is going to be mostly Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Pedro plays Joel, and Ramsey plays Ellie. I can't remember their last names at the moment. Kind of weird. Alright. And the runtime is 81 minutes for the first episode, 53 minutes for the second. So, you're basically, if you're going to watch the first 2 episodes, you're basically watching a movie. So, it's appropriate to do a normal review. Alright, so the basic plot of the show, for those that didn't play the video games, is we've hit a new apocalypse. People have been infected with the new virus that changes them into infected, so they lose who they are, and they're kind of trying to feed on people and infect others. So that's kind of the idea. Civilization's basically been reduced a lot in this new series. And it's very intense. The video game, The Last of Us, the first one, which is what the first season of the show is going to be based off, from what I've read, the second season will be based off the sequel game. So season 1's going to be at game 1, season 2, game 2. Not sure if we're going to get a game 3, but we'll see. Alright, so like I said, that's the basic plot of the show, that the world's been infected, and this is all over the place. Civilization as we know it is no longer there. And it's kind of like, you see it, and you can see, like, some people are still like in their real thing, but then when you eventually do see the infected in episode 2, it is, well, you kind of see them in episode 1, but not the same way. Not a spoiler, just what you're going to see. You're expecting to see infected. So, spoiler-free thoughts. I think it's a great adaptation from the video game. I really can't explain in words how I was wondering how much of the stuff from the video game were actually going to make it onto the show. And it's quite a bit. I would say if you played the video game and you're watching the show, most people are like, hey, I remember that from the game. So, like, it's really cool how they really kept to the game. There are some changes, and I'm not sure what to say. I'll say it in the spoiler section. But the changes didn't really bother me. I thought they might have, but when you actually start thinking about it, they actually do make a lot of sense for how they have it compared to like what was in the game when they have a chance to do some of this stuff. So to me, the changes actually make sense. I don't just want to do copy-paste from what they did in the game. So far, I'm loving the show. It's crazy when you actually do see the world and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. Because in the video game, as much as you knew it was vast and stuff like that, you're always like in these closed sections. In the show right now, you're actually able to see how massive all this stuff was, and it gives you a better understanding. Like, damn, things did go really bad. Just seeing the city just torn apart, it was crazy. And yeah, so that's my thoughts, spoiler free for this. Like I said, I'm going to be doing spoilers. I'm actually going to go talking about the plot of the show. And for those that are going to keep watching this series as I go, the beginning of the episode is going to be me just saying spoiler-free stuff. I'm actually going to give the score, and then afterwards we'll go more into spoilers, talking about things. So, like I said, I think it's beautiful. Oh, another thing. I think Ramsey and Pascal do an amazing job of being Joel and Ellie. I really think that they nailed it. A lot of people were like, oh, I don't know if these are going to be the right actors. They nailed it. Right out the bat, they nailed it. Pascal right now can't do anything wrong. He's the Mandalorian and he's Joel. Like, wow. Troy Baker was in so many video games, and that's the voice of Joel in the video game. Pascal is basically that, but in live action. He's just all over the place. And Ramsey, if you remember her in Game of Thrones, she was like that badass. You can already get that sense, oh, they're going to make Ellie a badass, and I can't wait to see what they do with her. So far, I'm enjoying what they're doing with both of them. They have other actors as well, but most people I feel are going to be there for like an episode or two. You're not going to really see them that much. So I'm not really going to be talking much about them right now. We'll see as the show goes on. But yeah, so my score, and I'm going to give it just one score for both of them, but I would think they're going to be around this. I think it was amazing. It was 9 out of 10. Amazing. I can't really complain. Some people were saying, why is it not 10 out of 10? I think it's a little bit different with live action versus me actually playing a video game. The emotion I felt from the video game, it's harder to do on a show because it's not me controlling it. I remember sections from the video game where I remember one part I had to put the controller down just because I got emotional. I was just, oh, what the hell just happened? So things like that happened to me in the video game, which here, I don't think it's going to happen as much for me, mostly because I already know where the plot's going. I've played both games. I know where it's going. I'm excited to see what they do. So like I said, score 9 out of 10, amazing. Do I recommend? Hell yeah. If you have a chance to watch this, and I know it takes time, watch it. I think it's amazing. You're going to enjoy a lot of it. You're going to for what I'm hoping happens is that a lot of people get this sense of, wow, I really actually want to explore that world on my own. And I think this might actually lead to people buying the game. It just re-released on PS5 as a new remake. So I think, I didn't know why they actually did the remake of the game. Now I get the sense the reason they remade it is because they knew they were eventually going to want to sell it again, and now for PS5 owners. So I get it now, and it actually kind of makes me, like, now watching the show, I kind of want to go back and play it so I can remember everything. Alright, so I'm going to stop here for non-spoilers. So I'm not going to give you guys like a 5-second warning of, hey, we're going into spoilers, and I'm going to have something on the corner somewhere around there saying, hey, we're in spoiler territory, alright? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, now we're in the spoilers, guys, and holy shit. So, I was wondering how much of the show, the first episode, was really going to take place, because the game usually is taking place where Ellie and Joel are both alive, but 20 years before when the infection first started, I think it was like 2003, Joel and his daughter and his brother were around. Like, he had a life before the infection happened, and we actually got to see that first day. In the video game, you also get to see this first day, but I want to say in the video game, the first day only lasts like a good couple, like 20 minutes. Here it lasts, I think, closer to 30 minutes, but there's so much like background that you see here. Like, Joel's daughter's around in the first part of it, and spoiler alert, she's gonna die. There's a reason he's with Ellie and not with Sarah in the future. But they did some cool little Easter eggs, things that were in the video game that showed up there. So Sarah's having her normal day. I think it's Joel's birthday. And they do these cool little things that I didn't notice. If you actually pay attention, Joel and Ellie, they never eat any flour. And it's actually, in the second episode, confirmed that the infection was actually spread through contaminated flour, from what I've read and seen and things like that. So if you notice, they don't eat anything that had flour in it. And there's a part where Sarah's inside this old couple's house because she's taking care, I think, of an old elderly woman there. And they're eating cookies and something like that. And later on, those people end up being infected. Sarah doesn't actually eat the cookie from what I remember. So that's kind of how they give that, that first episode, they kind of gave like a hint of like, hey, maybe there was something going on there. And yeah, so the infection starts later that night. Joel comes back looking for for Sarah. Sorry, I'm going to get those two names mixed up a little bit. So Sarah's going looking. She's hearing some weird stuff. She goes into the old people's house again, and now they're infected. The old lady, I think she's feeding on some of them, and she infects them as well. As Sarah's trying to get out, luckily, I think a cop actually tries to get her or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Sorry, I watched it over a week ago, so some of the ideas are a little blanky in my head right now. But then Joel ends up rescuing her, and they're trying to get away. They end up getting into a car wreck, and when they're trying to leave, this police officer ends up shooting Sarah while Joel is carrying her. And it's very emotional. Like, Joel's trying to do everything to save her, and there's nothing he can do. Sarah was shot. Sarah's about to die, and then his world just crumbles while the rest of the world burns. And it's just so emotional, so impactful. You see this guy that it breaks him. So then we cut to the future, 20 years later. I believe it's 20. And if I get that wrong, sorry guys. Didn't want to do as much research today. So now we're seeing Joel in the new time. We get introduced to Tess, Joel's partner, and they're trying to get out of this city. It seems like things are pretty bad in the city. The military, it seems like martial law and things like that, so it really sucks. We see some kid that ends up showing up at the beginning of this section. He's just some random kid they find that comes from the outside. They rescue him and they do a scan on him, and you see the colors kind of pinkish. And I can't remember if they'd shown it before or not. I only saw the episode once, but I think it's the first time you see pink. And at that point, I'm like, what does that mean? But then this, the lady that's talking to the little boy, she's telling him, hey, everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna do all this for you. We're gonna get you find you a favorite toy or something like that. And then they inject him with something. And nothing there has happened yet. And then you eventually see Joel, and he's working. I think they're burning some bodies. And I'm going to be skipping around in this. I don't have time to say every little thing that happened. I'm just going to go. And then when they're about to burn some bodies, you see the little boy right there. So that pink color lets you know he was infected and they had to kill him. And at this point, like, the person couldn't do it, so they asked Joel to do it. He ends up doing it, burning the body. And you can tell he's not the same person he was, like, before. I think that would have been a lot harder for him, but after what happened with Sarah, I think he's kind of like, I don't care, I just need to look out for me. So what he's trying to do is get a car so he can get outside the city to go find his brother Tommy. And we actually do see Tommy back in the past, but we haven't actually seen him in the future. I believe he's joined the Fireflies, which you can think of them like a resistance to... They are the rebellion to Fedra's empire, if that makes sense, even though it's all still in chaos. So the Fireflies, they have Ellie, this little girl, and they're asking her some questions like every day. She's basically kept hostage, and they're asking her questions, trying to see how she's doing every day. They ask her the same thing, like, what day is it, count to 10 or some shit like that. So now Joel and Tess are trying to get out of the city. They need to go get this battery, and they end up going to the place that they need to in order to get it, or where they think they need to go get it. And the Fireflies have been attacked. There's a bunch of them shot, and they run into Ellie and this other Marion. And Marion then offers them, she'll give them a truck to get out of the city if they deliver Ellie to the other Fireflies that are right outside the city, inside the DMZ. So where all the crap is going on, where all the infected are at. And when they're trying to get out, Fedra does stop them, and they end up scanning Ellie. First they scan Joel and Tess, and there's this green. They scan Ellie, and then hers turns pink. And then there's the revelation that Ellie is infected. Well, she was bit by an infected, but yet she's not turning. And you're not told yet, but Ellie was actually infected like weeks before, but yet she's still fine. I think 3 weeks before she'd been infected by the virus. So that's how the first episode ends. We start the second episode, and now we're in a section in, I think, Indonesia. And this one scientist, she's having lunch, and the police come to go grab her, and they tell her to look at the body of an infected. She ends up seeing what's inside the cordyceps, I think is what they're called. And it's coming out of her mouth, and you can tell it's trying to infect her. Luckily, she gets out of there. And as soon as the military ask her, hey, how can we stop this? What vaccine can you make? And stuff like that. She even says, there is no stopping this. Like, the best thing to do now is bomb the city. Just because we can't let this spread. At this point, it's probably already spread all over the place. And it's just like, when she says it, and you see this guy's face of like, holy crap, like, that scientist knows we're not, like, this is it. Those things are so aggressive, they're gonna kill people. Because they already told her, like, hey, there's some that got away, and they don't know exactly where they're at. She knows, like, there's no stopping this. We have to, like, blow up the city just to see if maybe we can contain it. But yeah, that was a powerful scene. And then we go back to Tess, Joel, and Ellie. And Ellie's just sleeping. She wakes up, and you can tell Joel's all, like, very protective. Like, hey, he has his gun pointed at her. She says, like, it happened 3 weeks ago. I don't know what's going on. They might be able to find a cure using me or something like that, because I was infected 3 weeks ago, and somehow I'm still fine. And you can tell Joel's a little bit like, I don't know. But they eventually, like, they even say, like, well, we kind of have to drop her off. We need to get the truck to go get Tommy and stuff like that. So then they go inside DMZ, and you can kind of just see how desolate the city is. It's just, it's insane how you can see the city. It's all like, it's empty. You just see the buildings, but there's no people, no life. And eventually you do see the infected. And when you do see the infected, you see them in, like, a giant group. And it's scary. It's one of those things, like, when you see a movie, like a horror movie, and you just realize, like, that thing's just gonna kill you. There's nothing you can do. It's a swarm. So they eventually do find a way. They know where they're supposed to go. They need to go across to where the Fireflies are at. They actually have their location. And they end up going through these places, and they end up running into... Oh, one thing that was changed is that now they kind of like these... The cordyceps, like, are underground and things like that. I think the reason they changed some stuff about it, just because in the game it was spores, but if you made it spores again, then that means your actors would be having to wear masks. And I think they were just like, we don't want to have their faces covered, we want to see them. So they kind of changed the cord, like, now they come out of your mouth and things like that. It's not a spore, which I thought was a good move, honestly, to switch it up. Just because, again, you want to be able to see the faces of the actors. When you get good actors like this, you want to see them. With video games, like, they're wearing the mask, but you're seen from behind them, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, moving on. So now they know how to get across, and they're going into this one building. And you can tell it's been filled with all the cordyceps. And there's probably something inside. And when they get in, you see a dead body, and you see that it's been obliterated. And it's not obliterated by a normal infected. You can tell this is something different. And then as Joel, Ellie, and Tess go up, they eventually get inside this one room, and stuff falls behind them. It's very video gamey when you see, like, there's like a shake, and then things fall behind them, like they can't get out that way. And out of nowhere, you start hearing the clickers, and you finally see the clickers. There's 2 of them, and goddamn, they are scary. So if you see them in the game, it's infected, but their eyes are covered now. They can't see. They can just hear you, and they don't look human anymore. Some of the other infected, they look a little bit more human, the, I think, scouts or whatever, but this thing does not look human anymore. The face looks all alien. And it's trying to feed, kill, and I think, I'm not sure if it's Ellie or Joel, someone makes a sound, and then the clickers just start going at them. They have super hearing, and they end up having to fight them off and kill them. However, during this exchange, and I'm not sure if you can actually see it in the actual episode, Tess is infected. And at the moment, they're quiet about it. She's quiet about it. They do eventually find where the Fireflies are supposed to be at, and they've been killed. And what it turns out to be, and this is where what it turns out being is that they, one of them got infected, and then he probably started killing some of the other ones. Others got infected, things like that. So all the Fireflies are dead, and they still need to get Ellie to the place, because they need to be able... They know Tess sees what Ellie is. Ellie might be a cure for the infection. This is her crusade now. She wants to make sure that Ellie gets there. Joel's reluctant, but he ends up doing it. And this is where Tess finally says that she's infected, because she kind of says, like, I can't go. And then Ellie says, oh shit, she's infected. And then you see that how far infected she is, and she's only been infected for like an hour. And then you see Ellie, because she also got bit during the exchange. She made a funny joke saying, like, well, if anyone's getting infected, at least it was me. Because it's not going to do anything to her. And you see Ellie's arm looks fine. She'd just been bitten while Tess had just been, like, bit like an hour before. And Tess is already looking really bad. Ellie's looks like, oh, she just got a cut or something like that. So at that point, the cordyceps, they accidentally shoot one, and then it touches and whatever. And the whole thing of how they have it set up with the things underground is that they know where they're all at. So if you kill one in one area, the rest of them are going to come to you because they know you're there. They have a hive mind. So now Tess tells them, hey, they need to get out of there. She ends up putting gasoline on the floor, throw some grenades on the ground and things like that. So you know what she's about to do. She's going to try and kill herself, but find a way to save them. And she ends up doing just that. Joel has a hard time trying to leave her, but he knows, like, hey, I can't do anything for her. And yeah, they end up leaving. The infected come in, and they're trying to infect Tess. So instead of like thinking of like, oh, they're just gonna attack her like hard, no, what they end up doing is like they just grab her. And it's like, if you resist, they're just gonna destroy you. If you just let yourself be taken, like, all right, it's gonna be all right. But she has her lighter, and then she sets the whole thing on fire. And now we're left with Joel and Ellie having to go to the next place to try and find the Fireflies. And that's the end of the second episode. And I know I sped through that a lot. I'm trying to make sure that this video is not too long, but so far I'm like, holy cow, this is like the game. I'm in. I don't need the. I'm wondering what gets cut from the game, because so far most of the stuff's in the game, and I'm curious to see how it looks in the show. But so far I'm hooked. Like I said, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's amazing. And like I said, I'd recommend this. And we'll talk more during episode 3. But guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you thought of episode 1 of the show, and episode 1 and 2 of the show. And I'll talk to you again for the next one. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.